Hello, this is Nicole. It is Friday, July 17th, 2026 at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. And we are in a simulated trading portfolio where I want to talk about a potential hedging strategy. If we take a look here at the futures, we are a half an hour before the cash open. We can see that the E-mini S&P 500 is trading down by 76 points, coming in at 75.01. And the NASDAQ is trading off 578 points, coming in at 28,643.25. Let's take a look at a chart of the E-mini S&P 500 futures product. And we can see that we are still in this range. And we've seen a lot of dispersion within the index itself, whereby large cap tech names have been seeing a lot of rotation in and out of the individual names and into other areas, which has allowed for the index itself to hold up relatively well, even though the constituents that make up the index are having a lot of volatility. Let's take a look at the semiconductor index here, SMH. And we can see that after significant price appreciation, we're seeing additional selling in this index this morning, where it's coming in at 548.28 in the pre-market here. Let's take a look at Micron. Micron continues to sell off. Pre-market, we're at 827.61, where yesterday we closed at 853.2. And when we take a look at what all makes up these indices and how they're cap weighted, we can see that Micron is a part of the S&P 500, a fairly significant part. And when we look at the NASDAQ 100, these chip names, Micron, AVGO, they are large weightings in the overall index. So the heavy selling may bring the indices down a little bit. So of course, I don't have a crystal ball, but if you're looking at a broad portfolio where you're naturally long these things, you may want to look at hedging. And of course, this is not a trade suggestion. I am just wanting to show you how some of these different hedging strategies can be looked at. And today I just want to focus on basically a risk reversal in SPX. So let's go ahead and talk about it. This is pre-market, so we're going to focus on the ES options. So I'm going to bring those up here. And for the purposes of this example, let's assume that you have a portfolio that's made up of many individual names or many individual ETFs that together broadly track the performance of SPY. And what you're probably looking to do in that portfolio is outperform SPY, right? Otherwise, you would just go ahead and buy SPY. You may look to hedge some of that portfolio with index options, in particular the S&P 500. And why would you look to do that? Well, let's head out to the September 18th, 2026 expiration cycle here. This is the large expiration cycle for this particular ES futures contract, okay? And we know that with increased selling, a lot of times we'll see increased put skew. And what put skew is whereby the implied volatility on the put side of the options is higher and gets higher the further out of the money you go. And on the call side, it gets lower the further out of the money you go, okay? So calls are going to be trading relatively cheap compared to puts. Well, what does that do in terms of offering some edge when you're building out structures? Well, with put skew, we know that put debit spreads trade relatively cheap. And that's because the puts that you're buying, let's say we bought a 74.50 put here, have a lower implied volatility. In this example, it's 15.45 relative to the puts you're selling. Let's say we want to sell the 7400 put. You're selling an implied volatility of 15.99 or 16-ish. Okay, and this gets more dramatic the further out of the money you go. So that's going to give you a bit of a tailwind. Conversely, when you're selling call credit spreads, you have an advantage. You're selling a closer to the money call with a higher implied volatility relative to what you'd be buying. So in this case, if we sold the 7550, 7600 call credit spread, we're looking at an implied volatility advantage. Okay. So what if we combined the two strategies in an effort to build out a hedge? Let's head over to the spread tab here. And I'm going to go down to deep and wide, and I'm going to go 1 month out, one strike, and just price out verticals. So what this is doing is showing us prices for vertical spreads. And I'm going to display theoretical price and mark. Okay. So this is what the vertical spreads, wherever the strikes are offered, it's a 1 by 1 wide, okay, are pricing at. So if we want to purchase a put vertical spread, in other words, this would make money if we saw continued selling. Let's say we want to go fairly close to the money. We'd be looking at a purchase price of around $9. So let's go ahead and populate that. And let's bring that up. Okay, so this is showing a little bit, whoops, I selected the wrong one there. I'm not sure how that happened. Let's hit the ask. Okay, so here we're looking at the 74, 75, 74, 50, 25 point wide, put vertical spread, and it's very close to the money here, okay? About 20 points out of the money. So very close to where we're trading at the money. This is priced at $9 for a 25 point wide spread. So if I hit confirm and send here, we can see here that you're paying less for the spread than what you can make, even though you're close to the money. Okay, so that's a little bit of edge. And let's analyze this in the analyze section of the software here. And we always like to set up these trades where you have asymmetry. In other words, you get to make a little bit more money if you get market accommodation, right, than what you're losing. And that can be edge in and of itself. All right. So now, what if we want to help finance this? What are we looking at here? So we talk about edge. So we're able to purchase an at the money put. Let me go back to that same expiration cycle. And we're in the analyze section here. So I'm going to set up the same setup that we had in the trade tab. And let's go to theoretical price and mark. Now we're paying roughly $9 for a 25 point wide put debit spread. So we know that with put skew, call credit spreads trade relatively cheap. So if we wanted to sell a call credit spread to finance this put debit spread, and let's say we wanted to do this for no cost, we could go all the way up to the 77, 77.25 and sell that. That's trading at roughly $9.50. So let's populate that. Okay. So I went ahead and clicked the bid there. And this is what that looks like. Okay. We could get this done for basically zero cost, maybe a small net credit. Now, what does this look like in the risk profile section of the software? So the S&P 500 futures are trading here, okay? Very close to this put debit spread. The call credit spread starts here at 7,700, okay? Which is beyond all-time highs in the index. So if we see continued selling, we will be in the money on the put side relatively soon, okay? Because we're so close to the money. And because of put skew, all right, this spread won't lose money, at least at expiration, until we get closer to this 7,700 area, okay? So this is how you can set up hedges that have a little bit of edge when you're looking at implied volatility. Okay, so it doesn't mean that this won't lose if we see bullish price action. Okay, it just means that you have some edge in this trade given where things are trading. Okay, so now let's take a look at the price slices here. And I want to delete this. And let's say I wanted to do this 5 times. And this is all going to be based on your needs, your portfolio size, and everything else. What does this get me? This gets me negative 10.9 deltas in ES terms. Okay. This would get me a max loss of $6,200-ish, max profit of $6,300-ish. Okay. And in between here, if we stay in between this area here, no harm, no foul at expiration. What if we did this 10 times? Okay. Max profit of $13,000-ish. Max loss of $12,375 gives me 21 delta. Okay. Now let's just assume that I have a portfolio that is equal to 500 shares of SPY in whatever the holdings are that make up that beta weighting. I'm going to replicate that by purchasing one futures contract. Okay. Let's just see what that looks like. Okay. So if I'm long one futures contract, which is the notional equivalent to 500 shares of SPY, and I enter into this hedging strategy, this is what this structure looks like. Okay. My break even to the downside with this hedge is closer to 72.50 versus without it. Then obviously my break even is the purchase price. Okay. Conversely, we still get to participate on the upside because these are vertical spreads. All right. And when we focus on here is this purplish line because this is the theoretical value of the position in real time. So the reality is, if we see a rebound, we're probably not going to hold this hedge until expiration and take the full loss. Okay. But in the short term, the overall structure, the hedged position still does well if we see a rebound. Okay. So this is not a trade recommendation. I'm not saying that I think the index is going to go down. I have no idea where it's going to go, but I just wanted to share this so that you had a sense of how you can look at hedging and take advantage of what implied volatility offers you in the options markets. And a lot of times I'm showing this in the ES futures options, and that's because we're pre-market. If you do this in SPX offers many different strikes. So here we could only work with 25-point wide strikes. In SPX, it's 5 or 10 points wide. So you have a little bit more flexibility there. And of course, SPX is twice the size of ES in terms of the options there, and it's cash settled. So, there's a little bit more flexibility there. The trade-off is that it doesn't trade yet reliably 24/7, or 24/5, which is what ES futures do. So as far as products go, you can play around with the different index products, but I just wanted to show you this. And I also want to mention that there's a reason for this price advantage, and that's because options traders are no dummies. This is counter to what the typical price action is for the S&P 500 index. Normally we have positive drift, and that's why the pricing sets up this way, because a lot of times price and the default of positive drift is going to be priced into these options. So this is a counter, typical trend trade, and that's why it's priced advantageously. Just because you're putting this on and it has some edge doesn't mean that you're not going to be dealing with a loss if price rebounds. It's just this is how you want to look at hedging. Okay, thanks for listening. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute investment, financial, or trading advice. No recommendations to buy or sell securities are being made. All examples are hypothetical and for illustration only. All investments carry risk, including the possible loss of principal. Options trading involves significant risk and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Consult a qualified financial advisor before implementing any strategy and review your financial situation, risk tolerance, costs, fees, and tax implications. Options trading requires broker approval, and not all strategies are permitted in all account types. Returns shown are hypothetical and not guaranteed. Market conditions can change quickly, and results will vary based on market performance, timing, and execution. Read characteristics and risks of standardized options from your broker or at www.optionsclearing.com before trading options.